What's up, everybody? Let's get involved. Everybody, how you feeling today? Are you a little scared with this little price action to the downside? Were you planning on it? Where do you think price is going? Is it going to hold around that consolidation level that it's kind of finding support on now from before? Or do you think we're breaking down? Let me know in chat. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. We're about to be getting going here very, very soon. What's up, everybody? My lights are off. I was sitting here getting blinded. Let me turn on the lights. There we go. How's everybody feeling this afternoon? We called it this morning, man. I don't like being a guy that said exactly as I called, but man, we were talking about where the price action may be going. Hold on, I'm getting doubles on my end. There we go. And I was suggesting a certain level lost and where we need it to hold. And we're going to dive right into that. This is the afternoon stream here on BitLab Academy. Welcome to the show. My name is Kellam. Had a wonderful interview that's going to be going out on Saturday. Just wrapped it up a few minutes ago, and really excited to share that with you guys. But I think we talk about news in the morning and we blend that with some TA. And these afternoon streams on here on BitLab are all about what's going on with the price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, AVAX, XRP, all your favorite coins. And we're going to figure that out right now. We're going to try and look into what the hell's going on, where the price levels we should be looking at. Shout out to my boy, BitVoodoo. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stepping into the chat. We love each and every one of you. And I just want to I want to encourage anybody that is here, if you're watching for any period of time at all, or if it's even your first time, get involved. We're a community. It's all positivity here. We welcome anything that's encouraging, anything that's constructive, anything that adds to the conversation. This is not a troll channel. This is all love. So let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Let's look at what's going on here. First things first, I want to talk about Caleb Franzen, our boy, friend of the channel, right here. Interestingly, this is a Bitcoin dominance. This interesting sort of, I won't call this a bull flag, and I won't call this there's a bit of a channel here, but we have this descending triangle where we have descending level of resistance, flat level of support. Now, what's interesting about this is what he wrote. The most interesting part about today's price action is in crypto is the fact that Bitcoin's dominance is actually falling, unwinding the grayscale news trade. What were we talking about earlier today when we see these big price movements? Right here, looking right here, seeing this big movement right here. This is an inefficiency. This is a sentiment pump. This is not fundamental pressure pushing higher. This was only speculation saying, oh, this is exciting because Grayscale won the case against the SEC, but we're not going to get in the news. But just think about the concept there. You always want to look at price action and say, why did this happen? Now, of course, when you're looking purely at TA, you want to look at levels. You want to look at different technical indicators. You want to look at technical data, momentum, RSI, Bollinger Bands, stochastics, Fibonacci's, past price action, known levels. You want to look at all these things so you can have a good idea of what's going on in the market. I just want to make sure I'm not getting any, okay. And everybody, let me know, by the way, let me know if there's any issues with audio visual. I see we already got a super chat in the house from maybe a Band-Aid, and he says this stream is, did he say this stream is all about markets and learning together? Please don't bring drama. That's right. Big love to you and big love to everybody that's here. I love each and every one of you. This is a drama-free zone because this is a classroom and this is a community. We're doing this together. We're trying to figure out how we can understand what's going on. so that we can learn, so that we can navigate these markets. And also we can do it in such an effective manner that we can influence the friends, family, neighbors in our lives because they see how well we're doing, and we can impart some of that wisdom onto them so we can do this as a community. So shout out to everybody here. Roll call. I want to see everybody in the chat flowing through. How's everybody doing? Are you bullish? Are you bearish in terms of where we're going to close at the end of this week? Do you think we are going to be above? You think we're going to break back above towards that $27,000 level or above that? Or do you think we're going to be back in this range? Or do you think we're going to be below this rate? Do you think we're going to break below 25,000? Let me know your thoughts, and also post it in the comments down below if you're watching later. If you are watching anywhere else, where's my mouse at? I can't find my mouse. If you are watching anywhere else, make sure you head over to youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. And that is this page right here. Make sure you come and give us a follow. Join us here. If you're positive, if you're encouraging, if you are here to learn, even if you're a beginner or a pro, we got all the content for you. And we got a wonderful community to help empower you and lift you up. And again, like I said, we are an island from all the drama. Big love to every one of you. Now, let's go ahead and get back to where were we at? Bitcoin, inefficient move up. Yes, we want to look at technical data, but we also want to see when we see the price action moving as such, is this speculative driven or fundamental driven? Because at the same time, we will get moves like this that are somewhat inefficient, but will lean into being perceived and hold as being more valuable in terms of that price structure, that price movement, if there's a huge fundamental shift that people become aware of, whether it's something like a spot ETF gets approved. That's going to cause very fast movement. But that's going to be done because of fundamental change. So fundamentally, Bitcoin will be more valuable. Why? Because we also know more people have direct access to it, both fund managers and retail. But when we see not speculation, when we see a news story that changes something that could happen, not that it has happened, AKA the Grayscale lawsuit with SEC, then this is speculative hype. That's why you see with the BlackRock news, large speculative hype. Now, this is just a potentiality of something changing. This is BlackRock. This is Grayscale. Something needs to be reviewed. We also get a much smaller push. And what is it? A lower high. So we have to know that. Interestingly, we have this sort of almost felt like an inverted BART pattern. We had this fast move up. And in a way it was. We didn't get all the way back up to this previous, position that we broke down from. But then here we got a BART pattern again, where we have very quick move up, a little bit of distribution, and then a breakdown. And the level we were pointing out today, price action was, let's see, where's today? Let's go to the 1 hour. We finished the stream. What is today? The 31st? Let's see. We finished the stream right here. This is where we finished the stream. And I was watching for price action to break down here and potentially test this VWAP. And if it lost this VWAP, then test somewhere in the lower part of this order block right here. And what did we do? We did test it. In fact, look, we did test below it. The bulls ate this back up. We held here for a moment, and then we had a strong selling volume down to get us down to this level. Not only was it strong selling volume, you can also see the volume here, right here, but it's on the candle, and it's also here with the momentum wave moving to the downside. And earlier, this was almost all red here on the dashboard, the trend dashboard here on the BitLab Trend Fuel. And what we do, we lost a weekly VWAP. Let's actually go to the 2 hour. This is the chart we were looking at. We lost this weekly VWAP, and we came down to the lower part of this order block, which if we go, let's go where these candle bodies are right now, option H. We could see we basically are finding support. We tested down here. The bottom of this wick tested us right into the high. You see what I mean? So price action is respecting previous price action here because we had this inefficiency. Liquidity is testing to the downside. And I mentioned this specifically today. If we had this huge test to the upside, what if we get this as a bull trap and move down to test the resolve of the bears and find out where the bulls are willing to come in? liquidity washout to the downside. Now the question is this the extent of the washout, or will we see price action come down here and test this level here, which is basically this zero, which is where we drew the Fibonacci from, which essentially is about the 25,830 down to about, let's go to this candle body, about 25.6. So really, if we lose 25.6, we're going to have one of two things happen. We're going to have two different opportunities happen. Either there's going to be a very fast move down and then a very fast move up because we're getting that liquidity washout, and we get the move up, liquidity test back to equilibrium, basically flushing out the shorts up. Now, a lot of people going long, flushing out the shorts here, getting people to commit short, flushing those out and coming back up. So we're either going to come back up and basically have that washout in both directions, or we're going to break down and the bulls have lost their sentiment, which is right now, let's be honest, sentiment is what's buoying the market here and keeping it from breaking down. But how long will that sentiment hold when we know that the speculative nudge that we got right here, there's all it is a review of something that could, that could potentially turn out well. So now looking here, 1 hour, got the triangle. Where was the triangle? Right here. Boom. We mark where this is, option V. This is right where the triangle is. So even if you miss this right here, we got the triangle right here. We're failing to break up above this portion right here. We can't even get above the 20 moving average, and this ultimately loses the trend signal line and breaks down. So this was our foreshadowing right here. Losing the trend signal line was, basically your secondary, and then losing a candle below this closure could have been your third point right there if you wanted to take this short. Now, in this case, we broke down. We have this high volume candle to the downside, and we also see increased selling pressure right here on these red momentum waves, as well as these purple candles. If right now we have 45 minutes left on this 2 hour, if this candle stays as it is, there's a little bit of hope that maybe we bounce here. But as it stands right now, the fact that we lost this bullish momentum, I think actually leans into favor of bearish bias here, meaning that we do test a little lower, and that is that 25.8 sort of region. And if we lose that, that's when we're confirming that we're testing that liquidity and seeing where the bulls come into the downside. Now, let me see what you guys said. I'm going to scroll back here. Shout out to everybody that's in here. We got 84 people in the room, only 30 likes. Every single one of you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Get us some engagement here. Let YouTube know you like this content. We're here as a family every day. Big love to every one of you. Kelly's cooking with some gas. I did not have Taco Bell today. But let's see. Boom. Shout out to every one of you here. Now let's go ahead and look. I told you, if Bitcoin, the altcoins did not move as much as Bitcoin in this move. And even in that small move to the upside, we already saw earlier today that a lot of the alts were already losing that move that they had and already coming back to equilibrium. Ethereum looks very similar to Bitcoin here. We've come down, we're testing the same sort of zone, just like we did on Bitcoin. In this case, if we do lose, I would actually say it'd be probably about this level, 1630. There's a little bit of a buffer here with this order block right below this. So basically 1620 to 1630. If we dip into this range as a bull, I would want this to hold here. I would want this to be a small bit of liquidity testing to the downside. The strength, do the bulls come in and buy this up, get a wick like we got right here, and then, basically continue a little bit of consolidation before we move to the upside. As it stands, this is feeling very bearish. I expect that if we do test down and we lose 1640 and we come down here into the 1620s, I think the closer we get to this order block and the momentum coming into it, I do think, look at all this red on the 2 hour. I do think that if we test into the lower side of this and lose this, we've got a little bit of a saving grace at 1600, but if we lose that, I do think we're going to have a pretty decent leg down here into the 1530s, 1530 to 1550. That's what I'm seeing on Ethereum. Now, I want to ask everybody in the room right now, Pop E2020. I'm honest, I'm transparent, and I'm all about love, compassion, and patience. I've got, we are an island here with BitLab Academy, and this is about charts, strategy, life, love, family, having capital to take care of those things I just mentioned, and knowing how to navigate this so we could take control of our future. And that's one of the things I love about this channel. This is a drama-free zone. Drama-free zone. So big love to every one of you. Yeah, sink below, but still a higher low. If we do drop down here, as I said, if we do drop down here, if we do lose this level, the 1602 on these candle bodies is kind of where I'm looking, 1600. And because this bullish sentiment was so exciting and we've already lost it, I do think if we come and lose this 1600 level, this is very weak support. And I do think we're going to be testing down in the 1500s. Now let's look at Cardano. Remember, right at the end of the stream, I outlined this head and shoulders. And the target of this head and shoulders, this is the TA I did from this morning on the BitLab morning stream. We did it at 10:30 a.m. I outlined the target breakdown from this is all the way down here at 24.5. But I suggested that because of these previous levels of this low and this low, that it likely would get front ran. And this was ultimately my target, was basically somewhere in between these two zones, about 25 cents. What we got the wick right down here. Didn't quite touch this bottom line, but I mean, it was, it was small enough. You see this small enough difference. If you look here on the right, you can't even see a difference between 25.0 and 25.0. So it's hundredths or thousandths of a difference. It says tenths, hundredths, thousandths of a difference between this. So basically 25 cents. Do I think this is going to come down and test this? Well, this is starting to round. And starting to lose a little bit of this momentum. We could tell currently by this huge wick to the downside, bulls ate it up. Now we're getting a little bit smaller of a candle. We still have 42 minutes though. So what does this look like on a smaller time frame? So this looks like a little bit of a rebound up. So if we lose 25.3, I do think we're going to come down and test 25. And ultimately, if we lose 25, we're going to be moving a bit lower. We could tell by this wick. Let's see. Oops. Let me zoom out here. Yeah, look at this. We're trying to hold these lows here. So boom, option J. I think 25 cents is next. 1 more cent down, which doesn't feel like a lot, but that move 25 to 24 is just under 4%. And if we lose that, then we're coming down to 22. So we've got to keep our eyes here. I do think we're still in a consolidatory, even though it feels like it's a lot of stuff is being lost, a lot of momentum. All of that momentum that we got during that grayscale ruling has presented that it could not sustain to continued upside price action. And because there was no fundamental change and nothing else to carry that sentiment forward, we've lost it. And so the bulls are losing more and more hope on these failed rallies. So we may see a pretty big expansion of the downside. I think 22 cents would be a wonderful opportunity, and anything below 22 cents would be, an astronomical opportunity to accumulate more Cardano. What does Algorand look like right now? Did you guys buy or sell anything in this move? Are you guys already adding into your positions on this? Brocoshino Dinero says, hola, Kelly, what's up? How you doing, my friend? Alexandra G, always positive everywhere she goes. I appreciate you. Brad Guidell, how you doing? B Giffen, Sawtooth Hiker. We got the whole crew in here. Maybe a Band-Aid. Thank you all for being here as we're trying to figure out what the hell is going on in these markets. Well, all we can do, no bias. What are the levels if it moves down? What are the levels if it moves up? Well, here, Algorand, if we do move down, we've got a new level right below us. We're testing the bottom side of here. The wick actually broke past these candle bodies. We're on the 30-minute. If we do break down, I do think we're going to be testing down here to just above 9 cents, 9.05. Now we do have a wick all the way down here though. So if we do get a bit of a breakdown below that, then 8.9, is that in the cards? It's a little concerning because we do see this Let's go to the 2 hour. We do see this, it's bouncing on this all the way down. It's not even making it up to this high. So this is looking like it's getting weaker and weaker. It's just testing in this range. Are we going to get something like this? Boom, boom, boom. Are we going to get that move? Do you think Algorand is going to give us, here's the thing. Some people think it's so bad if it drops. I think Algorand's a spectacular project. So to me, are we going to get, and this isn't a truly effective way to target this because this is not a bull flag, but just as an example of, coming down here to 7.3 cents. Does that scare you? Or do you say, God, I get it. I get some 7.3 cents Algorand to accumulate. Sign me up. I'm telling you that right now. Now, if this were to break down again, I'd be looking at, a little bit of support here at 9 cents. And if we do lose this regionally right here, this next one is right at 8 and 9. So 8, 9 to 9 cents. If we lose this sort of zone, I do think we're probably coming down into the lower 8s, upper 7s. So let's keep an eye out. Look at all this red on the dashboard here on the BitLab Trend Fuel. A little bit scary. A little bit scary. We can also see on this momentum, look at how high this is. And this is, moving towards the next wave to the downside. The question here is, if this does move to the downside, is this momentum trend wave going to come down and provide us a smaller wave right here, where we have this large wave, smaller wave, and then a smaller wave, showing that there is underlying pressure and a change, of course, that may be coming in? Or is this going to break this potential setup that we had here with a large wave and a smaller wave? Are we going to get a deeper wave here? In that case, that's going to, I don't want to say spell disaster, but it is going to indicate that there's a lot of weakness coming into this market. Now, if we do bounce here, say we get some magical bounce that happens right here and we push up, our next level right above us is essentially the spot we broke down from, this point of control that we have right here, which is essentially right about 9.5 cents. If we take that out, then we're going right to where this level is right here, the same sort of level. And this is 10.2. If we take that out, then we're coming up to this order block. But we know that this, if we zoom in on this here on the BitLab volume, the problem with where this point of control is, we have an order block right above it as well. So if we do get some sort of move to the upside, then not only do we have this to contend with, this 9.5, 9.6 cent zone, we have an order block right above it. So watch for having a wick that comes into this before it gets rejected down ultimately. Now, I do think this is looking weak. I do think we're going to test down into this 9 cent, 8.9 cent sort of zone. So keep an eye out on that. Let's just go down this list I got here. Man, look at this. Atom had a little bit of a head and shoulders. I'll just lean more into that context because of that more clear head and shoulders we saw on Cardano, but similar structure. M formation, kind of right shoulder here. Head, a little bit of an attempt that ultimately failed, got rejected right at the weekly VWAP. And if we did have a neckline, it would be just like this. We lost, as soon as we lost that, we lost it. Now, so let's go to a larger time frame. Man, look at this. We're dipping right into this order block from previous price action. Price action that goes all the way back to June, middle into June, around June 22nd. We have this giant order block that we are exploring the hell out of this order block. So if we do get down to the bottom side of this range, 675, we lose this range. Are we in store for another dip down to this next order block down here at 5.8, 5.6 to 5.8? What do you think? Are you an atom holder? But this is looking like it is. This is, the shape of this. We pay attention to shapes when we're doing analysis. This is looking like, you kind of throw a rock in the air and then gravity takes it and it starts accelerating to the downside. Are we going to see that acceleration down here to 5.88? Or is it going to hold? It is looking like the momentum's trying to roll over. Stochastics got rejected, heading down. RSI is heading down. The entire dashboard, other than the RSI, is not yet flipped, but we're seeing a lot of bearish narrative on that dashboard. What does this look like on the 24-minute? Let's see. So here's a good example of a trade setup that a signal that you look at, that you don't trade just because you see a signal. We see a triangle right here. Now, do you buy just because you see a triangle? Well, we don't see any of the other indications on here, whether it's a reversal or shift, or bullish divergences, or any of these things that are on the chart. All we see right here, we do have the stopping volume that came down. It stopped it. It pushed up and it's getting rejected under the 20 moving average, which is a very weak bounce. Now, there is a potential here that we see a, God dang it, give me a freaking thing there. We could see a W formation here, but this is looking relatively weak. That would be a hope to get the W formation because there's nothing really indicating. We see the RSI is coming down here. Stochastics, we've got a bit of a trend line. Sorry. I'm going to punch my computer. There we go. It's been a long day. It's been a long week, guys. Got a bit of a trend line here. With the stochastics, let me see it right here. Got a little bit of a trend line here. It's just getting rejected. Also, price action getting rejected. We do have the triangle, but we don't have anything else to support it. That's why you look for a signal. Gives you an idea of something that could be happening. Looking for the supporting signal, and you're looking for the confirmation signal. We don't have that yet. Now, if this does bounce, somewhere about, let's say right here, and we do push back up and we push higher, the breaking, and we get, a reversal or a trend shift or a bullish setup, one of those other indicators that we have on the BitLab trading stack. And we get that. We have the triangle forewarning us, forecasting the shift and trend back to the upside. I'd be waiting for those other supporting, confirming signals. And I personally will wait to break this neckline on this W. And in reality, I'm a little bit just bearish right now based on what's going on in the market. So I'd want to see a lot of supportive evidence. Got a fly killer over there. Just the biggest fly in the world must have just exploded because I almost had a heart attack. Ooh. So I'm just saying, I'm preaching caution here. Don't trade just because you see one signal out of many. Another good example of that is right here. We had a potential bullish setup, bullish signal. Looking down in that bullish signal, we have a lot of selling pressure because all these different signals that are on this chart are reading different stuff. This is why you want to use the signals together to form a story that provides you that probability to trade. Another big ass fly. Can you guys hear that? Let me know in chat if you guys can hear that fly. Because that thing, you guys could hear it? Yeah, I just saw it goes. No, it was just like, I think ever since my accident, you guys know I broke 22 bones and I've had about 84, 85 surgeries. I was in a coma for a month. I was in the hospital for 3 months. I was in casting crutches for 8 years. Ever since that first accident, sudden loud noises make my heart drop. And I don't know why. I see fly guts on my forehead. Now, Cosmos, it's looking like it's trying to, let's watch. Let's see what happens in this zone. But maybe there's a setup here. Let's look for that support and that confirming signal. Let's go to GRT. Here's that level. Pushed up, came down, found support, pushed up, could not break higher. We had a bit of a head and shoulders here as well. Shoulder, head, shoulder, lost it. Where we go, came down a little bit of support right here on this previous support that was below us. And which is right at the weekly VWAP. Very tiny bounce, lost. Where'd it go? Right to this line that we had already had this line drawn from all the way over here. Low, 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 low. And bounce here. A little bit of a rejection here. A little bit of a bounce here. Then it's lost. Where did the price come down to? Boom, right to that level. Right to that level. Bounced up. Where to get rejected? Below the 20 moving average, right here in this EMA ribbon here, part of the BitLab trading stack, below the dynamic resistance zone. And now look, we got these candle bodies kind of breaching below these other candle bodies. This is telling me a little bit of a story. This is telling me it's more likely than not, this is probably going to test that. We could have a little bit of a move back up again into this 20 moving average, but this is telling me there's a higher probability this is coming down here to this 883. We're on the 24 minute. Get back over the 2 hour. Yeah. So likely coming down here to the 882. And then what would be the next level? I mean, look at the wick down in here. I do think we're going to be testing down into the mid eights. I would be looking at this zone right here where this line is. this line is auto-populated based on levels when the stopping volume candles hit, and it gives you a level that could be a potential basically entry or stop loss. And you know, we have this line here. What happens? Price comes down, finds support, bounces up, finds support, bounces, ultimately bounces way up. So are we going to come down here, test in this order block on GRT and find support at 8.7, or are we going to wick below it and then move up and come down to the lower side, 8.5? Now, if we do end up losing this order block, we are going to be looking for, man, that, you know, yeah, 8.5 is kind of, because right now we're holding on to this zone. Man, look at this. In reality, we kind of had to have a bit of a, let's go ahead and delete this one right here. Oops. We kind of have a little bit of a descending triangle, flat bottom support, one wick out, but flat bottom support, a little bit of a deviation above, quick move back into the zone. Are we going to bounce in here and trade this and break down? Or is this going to come down and test this 8.7 down to 8.5 and ultimately do a little bit of price exploration lower? We do go lower. Yeah, this 8.5 seems like a decent stop, a decent pit stop to see where support's going to lie when we get into this zone. What did we say about XRP today? We had that line. What did I tell you? We're on the, let's go 1 hour. Where were we at this morning? 30. Right here. Said if we lost this level, we would be testing this blue level of support. And if we lost that, potentially coming down here to this 4.84. If we lose that, I think we're coming down to 4.47. Now, this is not looking, if you're a bull, this does not look in your favor. Put it that way. Let's get down to the smaller time frame. We do have a triangle. We had a trend shift, so there's a little bit of indication here. We lost this. There's some underlying strength that still fell down, but there was nothing that agreed with that here. We had the trend shift. The potential signified a reversal could happen, but is the fuel there? Is the other signals there? Look down. A lot of selling. Look, all red, all the way from back here. All these are red. So I would have said, no, this isn't here yet, but there must have been some underlying attempt. So let me keep my eyes peeled. Got a lot of selling volume, eating back up, stopping volume right here. We did try to push higher. Now we're consolidating below the 20 moving average. We do have the triangle here, but that's there's nothing else that signifies any support of that move. I'd like to see, in this case, what I expect to happen is price action likely move back down into 504, 502. And if we lose this, come down. If we do bounce up and retest the zone and break 5.1, 5107, 511, this sort of zone right here, then maybe we're going to come up and test the 515. But I'm leaning bearish right now based on the structure of the signals involved. Note, remember, all these things I'm talking about could be completely thrown out the window tomorrow or accelerated based on any news or delay that comes with the BlackRock and Bitwise and these other spot ETF denials or approvals that could come tomorrow. Now, if it does get denied, that sucks all the sentiment out that we just got from the Grayscale win over the SEC. So if that's the case, then I do think that XRP will likely come down here and test in the 4.8s, 4.84. Let's look at some stuff we did not look at this morning. Filecoin, look at that. It came down. What we do, we lost it testing right around the weekly VWAP. We're on the 24-minute. Okay. Right around the weekly VWAP, bounced on it, came up, got rejected at the trend signal line, got rejected all the way down to this previous low. We even tested below it with this wick. Matty B says where it will wick, it will likely candlestick. And we see this came down. The bulls brought it right back up. The bulls are saying we don't want it to go lower. And bears took a little bit of profits. You know that because they sold to the bulls, right? You can't have a buyer if you don't have a seller. Bulls ate this back up. And now we're holding right here, essentially at this previous low that we're having in the same region. Question is, if we do lose this level, we're going to have to see here in 25 minutes. Is this candle going to close as a doji and give us an indication that we may have a trend reversal attempt, or at least a small relief rally? In this case, maybe it's going to be a relief up to this EMA ribbon up here at 330, 329, or is this going to continue selling off and potentially move down? The momentum is suggesting that this is rolling over. Stochastics got rejected. It's coming down. All this bearishness. If I had to bet, I would say that this is likely testing to the downside. The question is, are we going to come down here to 293 and find some support, or all the way down to this larger trend line that we've been bouncing off of, both rejection and support? Got this wick down right here. Are we going to be testing down into, we have this order block right here as well, which is all the way down at 271. What do you think is going to happen with Filecoin? Things are leaning bearish. I mean, look at this. We've got, we do have a bit of a, let me see. We do have a bit of a trend line here where this is getting rejected, but we also have a rolling over, an acceleration of momentum to the downside. Small relief, trying to test. I do think this is likely coming down into this 277 zone, which, remind you, let's go ahead and look at this real quick. $2.77 versus, what was the high up here? $230. I mean, for me, anything in this region down here is, for me, a position that is a great opportunity to take looking to 2024 and 2025. You don't need to trade every single swing unless that is what time allows you and affords you to do. If you could make a job out of it, do it. But if you're not a professional trader, anything down in this region, you know, anything below, anything where we're at now or below, I think is a wonderful opportunity looking into 2024, 2025. Then you can just ignore the noise until after the halving and set your strategy to take profits. Now, let's go ahead and look at what, what else? ICP, how you doing, ICP? We got a little bit, option J. We're bouncing on this previous low. Is this a double bottom here? It's looking a little bit like a Head and Shoulders. If this were, let me tell you, that would be pretty painful. That would take us down to $1.42, but it's a very kind of wonky sort of setup. So I'm not going to take that as, I'm going to do this kind of like this. This is looking like a descending triangle. Boom, boom, boom. It comes down here. Yeah, man, this is, we're on the 3-day. Let's go down to the 2-hour. Double click. Look at this sort of range we got here. It's so ugly. If we lose this level, let me see something from the candle body to the top. Did a Fibonacci extension. Look at that. From the measured move above, the extensions below. This came down. Where did this bounce? Right on the 1.382 expansion to the downside, retracement. The next level down, if we do lose this, likely bounce again at 318. And then next stop would be around the 1.618 down here at 294. If we're able to find support here, then we got a little bit of a range to work through. In addition to that, if we do bounce, we've got this large order block directly above us. We have not only the lows to contend with, 344, but then this massive order block starting from 350 up to 360 essentially. So this is, in a way, I want to say not looking as bad because this is trading just sideways. But again, everything is leaning bearishly, and this has been ultimately pretty crushed considering where the highs were. And the highs were quite manipulated by Alameda and FTX in the last bull run. So maybe because of the strong sell-off that's already happened, this is, you know, finding I don't want to say a floor, but it's consolidating a bit stronger here. But in this case, you know, if we do come back down and test the 327, lose 327, I do think we're coming down to 318 and then down, like I said, to 295. Ooh-wee. What else we want to look at? BNB. How's BNB doing? 217, still getting propped up by a good old Binance, I believe. Got 112 people in the room. We got 56 likes. You're sitting here watching, whether you love me or hate me, you're engaging. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're losing people to drama, and this is not a drama channel. All we do here is content on a daily basis, talk about how we can make our lives better, how we can be a community and help each other grow. And I just appreciate each one of you. This is pushing up, rejected at this order. I mean, look at these order blocks I'm telling you, on BitLab, on the BitLab trading stack, this order block was set all the way back here in August 16th. So 15 days ago, we're on the 2 hour. On this pump up, where did it go? Right to the order block that it drew out the level where liquidity was interesting in the order books before. The boldest crypto, XLM. Yeah, we can do some XLM. We can look at Gala too. Everybody throwing some coins right now. I'll try to get through as many as I can in the next 20 minutes. And I want to see every one of you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm doing total request live right now. Get some engagement here. Get involved. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Join us here. We got a wonderful community. We're right here. If you're watching somewhere else, because we do stream in a couple of spots, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. And in a way, I see this number going down, and I say, arrivederci to anybody that leaves based on drama that you know nothing about. I don't want you here anyway. If you come around to having more of an open mind and realize there's more at play than what you're seeing on the internet, and believe me, there is a lot more at play, then I welcome you back anytime with open arms. But let's go ahead and continue this on. Let's see. We had a little bit of a trend line through here, and this, obviously broke down right into where the order block directly below us, which also is perfectly in line with where these lows are from the previous sort of range that we did push out of. If we lose 215, 200 is going to be scary, because if we lose 200, remember that $181 sort of zone. Let me go out to the daily. The $181 zone is 3 days. The $181 zone right under 200, where these, this is bounce, this bounced here. We lose that, things get very scary, because the bottom side of this order block is actually down at 160. So we have a little bit of a buffer there, but remember all this inefficiency right here, it just moved up and it's never been testing in the zones. This was a little bit of an anomaly. Let's look at BNB on another exchange, for instance. You see, we don't have that big wick to the downside here, so we can get a little bit more clarity on the level to watch. So in this case, we can go from here. We'll do 2 lines, one there and then one right there. So this is roughly where this bounced. We got a little bit of a loose bounce around this zone, bounced right here, bounced right here. We're losing it a little bit, but if we do dip down 185, it gets a little scary after that, because we basically you basically took an elevator, a very fast elevator up, and here there's no elevator to come back down. This is just very likely pretty scary move to the downside. The question is going to be, how strong does Binance buy that up? And if they do buy it up, is there going to be a lot of selling pressure of Bitcoin to get the liquidity to buy it up? You see, all these things are tied in together. Now, let me see. DGB, let's see. Total request live with Kelly. DJ and the like button. Thank you so much, baby, a Band-Aid. I appreciate the super chats. Big love to every one of you. Bitcoin Cash on BCH. We could do some, let's go through it. What was the first one that somebody said? I forget. I know somebody said Gala. Let's look at Gala. We haven't looked at Gala in a minute. Gala. I'm going to go ahead and delete about half of these. Boom, 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 and yeah. Okay, so we're on the 3-day. Looking relatively bearish with a little bit of bullishness with the stochastics because they're so low, but they can stay down here for a while. You see this right here. Looking over here, staying all down, how low that was, and what's happening through all this period. Price action is falling until we get a bounce. So Where we're at right now with Gala, and I mean, this level right here is very important because we can see the previous price action right here where this bounced. We also had another bounce. If we lose this level, essentially, I would say 18.2, we have one sort of saving grace, and that's this kind of weak trend line that we have right here, which would essentially bring us, if we went straight down, that would take us right to 16. Potentially, I would think if we do that, we'll probably trickle down to this 15-cent zone. What does this look like on the 2-hour? 2-hour, man, just rejection down. M formation. Lost a 20 moving average, came down, tested the trend signal line. Look at this. Lost it, found support on the weekly VWAP. Telling you these signals, guys, in the BitLab trading stack. If you want to get your hands on this, head over to bitlabacademy.com. We got all the courses here. You can become a member. Just enroll here for the all access to courses. If you want the indicators, get the BitLab Pro, or just sign up for just the indicators and not the courses right here. Indicators, go down to BitLab Trading Stack, add that. You can use that code, give me 30 for 30% off, additional 30% off your first month. So this is, you know, integrates all the information you need to make smart trades. Now coming right here, we have this boom support right here. Lost this level once it happened. Moonshot basically jumped off the cliff right here, finding the support. This is on the 2-hour chart. So again, if we lose this, the next level down is 18, 15, and then we get down to the 15s down here in this order block. There's another order block on the larger time frame. On the 2-hour time frame, it looks like we have a little bit of a stopping point around the 17-cent mark. So let's go. I mean, this is not looking ultimately very bullish, but we have bounced here. 1, 2, 3. Is this going to be the 4th time? Watch for a breach of this level and a move down. If we do push up, you know, we've got the weekly VWAP is really, I would really want to, before I even consider coming up here, I'd want to see the price action get back above this 19.6 level. But in reality, I think if we do bounce here, we can do just a simple fib on the, option F, simple fib there. And look at that, the point of control, where is it? It was perfectly, the point of control, when we looked at that on the larger time frame, that point of control is right here in the golden pocket. So if I turn off the volume, you can see that point of control is right here. So if we cannot get above 19.3, we're not going to get it. So this is a potential retrace zone if a retrace were to happen. If we get rejected at something even lower, like this 382, 1909, then stronger bet on downside. Now, do we have a potential head and shoulders forming? We have the shoulder, head. Are we going to get a little bit of that retrace I just talked about? And look at that. If we do get this up and we get a right shoulder, that would be almost parity right into that golden pocket. So there's some indications that maybe we get something like that. But as it stands right now, momentum's rolling over. Look at all this. Oops. Look at all this red. It's on the 2-hour, and we got a lot of selling volume, and the money flow's coming out. So we got some things to think about here. I'm looking at a potential little consolidation here, and then probably continuation to the downside. What else was it? The Bitcoin Cash, BCH. I haven't looked at this one, and can't even tell you how long. Looking so much sexier than everything else. Why do I say that? Because this is not testing back down into this consolidation range. Maybe it's just lagging. We have a lot of sell volume here. We got a lot of red here on the dashboard on the right. Momentum's moving to the downside. We got this triangle. I mean back here, and momentum was coming down, and we got a lot of selling volume here. This is losing the weekly VWAP, just like we saw on the other coins. Once that happened, price action typically had a pretty swift move down to that next level down. And in the case, what's going to be the next level down, where we have these two lines here from the stopping volume, marks out levels of interest for price action to potentially revisit. So if we do come down here and find support here, great. Push up, correction down, support, but maybe consolidation. But as it stands right now, again, everything is pulling the market down right now. So if the liquidity is moving down, I'm not betting on small individual assets to, just trade counter to the rest of the market. It could happen, but I would want to see this reverse somewhere in the zone and push up if it were to happen. I want to see some bullishness in the dashboard. I want to see money flow coming in. I want to see, there's none of those indications are suggesting this is going to move counter to the rest of the market. So if this does come down and loses 197 zone Bitcoin Cash, then I am next level down. I'm looking at is 189 and then ultimately coming down to 177. If we lose that, that's just like all the other assets, that sort of that barrier that we're looking at for a potential larger move to the downside. What does it show on the 1 hour? So yeah, I mean, look at this, boom, option J. If this does lose this level in this entire order block, again, in the 170s, and then potentially a little bit of a stopping point right here at this previous wick low, 164. If we can't hold that, then, you know, we're coming down to 184, so 148. So I just want to let you guys know, trading strategy on all these assets. When I'm giving you a variety of levels, you don't need to have the magic level of where price action is going to. What you need to have is what are the opportunities going to be if then what? So if this price action moves down, and remember, we don't throw all our money in at a certain level because you think that's a level. If it's a very known level, a lot of other people are going to be front running that level too. If this does break down, look, you got 1, 2, 3 levels that you can split up your entries on if you're looking for an opportunity to go long. So this is how you can set up those structures to break up. And if you get all 3 of these, it's not terrible. Then getting all 3 of these means, and they're filled, that means your average entry is going to be right here in the middle, 164, rather than throwing it all the way in at 180. Does that make sense? So this is why I outlined the levels of if this, then that, etc. There was a couple other ones. Let me scroll back in the charts real quick. All right, sorry, in the chat. I don't know where. Somebody said DGB. DGB. Let me look at a different one that has very low volume. Okay, this is better. A lot more volume. It's hard to get data when there's an asset traded on an exchange that asset in particular doesn't have a lot of liquidity. I was looking down here and there was almost non-existent volume, and I could see gaps in the price. That's how I was identifying. If I show you, that's how I was identifying that there was little volume. Come on. So you see, where did those gaps go? But you see how there's so little volume here. So little volume. And then if we go back to DGB on Binance, we can see that there's not a ton more, but more volume traded here. So we had the bullish, this bounced all the way down here. We had the stopping volume here, yellow. Price started moving up, got rejected, came down. Then we got the bullish setup, reversed, broke through this trend signal line, moved up, finding support on the 20 moving average, moved all the way up here. We got a bearish setup, and now this is a sideways consolidation. So we're getting some bullish divergences. It still falls. This is why you don't trade just divergences. It's important on any signal that you use. You know, at least I like using a 3 signal setup so you can make a smart decision. All this order block, we're just ranging, almost getting down to the lower side of this order block, you know, ranging below in the middle, test the upside, rejection back down to the low. We got a stopping volume right here, push up below the, the EMA ribbon and the 20 moving average, only to get a doji candle to potentially reverse down. As it stands right now, this is still looking like it's trying to work out what the hell it wants to do. Are we getting a little bit of a bear flag here? If this is a bear flag, what does that mean? Let's go a little conservative here. And that would suggest likely travel down to 634. Now, look at that. Boom. That bear flag's target is perfectly where the previous wick went on the low of this range right here. So gives some credence that this is a likelihood of where the price action is going to go. And then again, if we lose that, then, you know, boom, you know, we're looking at the low side of that range all the way down at 601. So that's what we're seeing there. Let me go see, it's scrolling back through Is it? Boom, 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 boom. I'm scrolling, trying to scroll through y'all's. Okay, let's optimism. Man, we haven't looked at optimism in a minute. Woo-wee. Taking a little bit of a nosedive there, right? Okay, trend line, boom, 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 boom. And look, it was holding. Look, come down, test the trend signal line and the weekly VWAP. Test the upside of this downtrend resistance. Test a weekly VWAP. Downtrend resistance. Test a weekly VWAP. Loses weekly VWAP. And potentially coming down to this zone and loses that. This is looking relatively weak. Now, boom, this is where I'm looking next. It's already come down and tested that zone. And so, oops, that's not what I want. And look at that. 1 to 2 hours. There we go. Wait, where are we at? There we go. Now look at this. These highs getting rejected. It's perfectly in line with where the SWIT came down to. So is there any sort of other levels in intermediate? Maybe this low right here. That's right in the middle. So on optimism, these are the levels I'd be watching if this starts breaking down. It's up to you to determine how bearish you think this is. If we come down into this zone and find support at $1.37, then potentially we're going to come back up here and test this sort of point of control somewhere in the region of I would say 140 to 142 if we bounce here. The question is going to be, can we get through this regional area where price action had some interaction previously? We also see, look, that's where these things were bouncing. So as it stands right now, this is telling me the momentum is rolling over here. We're more bearish than bullish on the dashboard. We're in a downtrend that got rejected and we lost a level. We got a lower low here. So even on a retrace up, this is telling me that this is likely coming down. So the next level down, $1.34. This is a weak level. The next level down from there would be down to $1.29 and then $1.24. So good opportunities presenting themselves for optimism to the downside. Now, zooming in, you guys did not give me a lot of opportunities for different coins. Somebody said Flux. I've not looked at Flux in a minute. And look at this, trading between the two, the order blocks here on the BitLab volume, and rejected in this order block, came up, created an order block, rejected the bottom side of that order block, rejected order block, found support when it came down on this, formed an order block, found support, back in this order block. And then of course we've got this line right here from the previous volume level interest, potential level to watch. So if we fall through this, I think we're quite weak if we fall through this order block. So I don't hold a lot of weight for 3047 here on Flux to hold support. Potential another leg down, just like this, stair step, boom, boom, boom. Is there a level from previous? And are we really in price discovery to the downside? Price discovery to the downside. Yeah, so I would be careful with this because there's not a lot looking downward on this. Theta, I have not looked at Theta. 2 order blocks, boom, boom. So if we lose this level, where is it going? Next zone of interest is kind of option J, the high of this zone, and the order block directly below it. So if this does, if this does break down, and this is looking like there's a little more structure here. There's a bit of a falling channel here. So rather than just fall straight down, I do think that if this loses this level, it might find some support and sort of bounce like a rock down here. If it doesn't find support. Now we do have this right here, option J, price action bounce and price action rejection and price action bounce. So if the price action does come down and test, I'd be looking at finding support here on the 525. If we lose that, then I do think we're going to be trickling down, and we can see the levels down here with the order blocks below on theta. But this is looking a little more bullish because this is in a falling channel. So if this is a falling channels typically break to the upside. But what do you say to a pretty small market cap coin that is in a market and an asset class, a digital asset ecosystem? If the bottom falls out from Bitcoin and other altcoins, Ethereum and other stuff, I don't expect this falling channel just to be respected. I expect this will likely maybe find some support, a little bounce, and then ultimately more likely than not fall through down here, potentially even losing half. But I do, let's kind of, we're on the 3-day. That's why. So yeah, I mean, even still it looks the same. So let me double click on this. There we go. If we lose this level right here, 5.9, then I do think that we are testing down here into the zone, the 5.3 and the 4.9. Those are the levels that I've been looking at on theta. Arbitrum. And right below us, already bounced at that zone. If we can't hold this level, 908, we're at 9.2 now, so 908. We can't hold that level, then, I mean, this is going to be in price discovery too. So we go like that. Man, that's a pretty large drop. Yeah, I'd be patient with Arbitrum because it's in downside price discovery. What else have we not looked at? What's Doge doing with all that news from payment processing, Twitter? Here we go. We got that move up. Rejection in the order block from before. Formed a new order block as well. Tried to move up. Got it M formation with the lower high. Came down, lost a weekly VWAP. Not only did we lose the weekly VWAP, we're testing right where this equilibrium is on this point of control that we just saw. It only moved because our, you see that? Bounced right at the point of control. And if we do work our way down, if we cannot hold above this point of control, then I do think we're testing down into this order block 6-1. Potentially, there's going to be a little bit more positivity, I think, with buoying up, supporting a sentiment with Doge because of everything on the horizon with X. So, I think it's less likely we're going to have that huge drop on Doge unless there's something explicit said like payment processing is going to come on X, but they're not going to use Doge. Then, I mean, Doge would fall precipitously. But ultimately, if this does break down and lose this level, let's go ahead and target down here to 5.95. And if we lose that, then down here to 5.5. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm feeling. Let's get back over to, let's look at comp real quick. Then we're going to look at Bitcoin. And then we're going to wrap this out. I'll be on Around the Blockchain tonight with DZ and other crew. Where the hell did comp go? There it is. So look at that, testing down to this order block. If we lose this zone, I'm looking at coming down here to 35.89 sort of region. Bitcoin, what's going on? We lost all the way down to 26,000. This is trying to round. Look at that. It's right here on that that point of control. Again, we already know the levels. If we kind of lose past this level, I'm looking down at really 25.6. Potential liquidity washout to the downside. And we got to see if it does hold above, liquidity washout. I'd like it to hold above 25,000. If we get down to $25,000 and lose that, there's a large psychological number there also because of all the bouncing and support and rejections that it has had previously. So if we do see exploration of price to the downside, I'd like to see it hold above 25,000, potential similar setup. Little consolidation here, wash out to the downside, maybe a little bit of a wick, back end consolidation, and then a move back up. Ultimately, that's what I'd like to see, but markets don't do what you want them to do. If we do lose 25,000, then I'm looking down here into the 23.8s, 24.2 down, then to 23.8. And what a great opportunity that would be. Remember, don't be frustrated. Organize your life and your capital and your time and everything to look at these opportunities. This price action to the downside is not detrimental. It's opportunity for you to take advantage of and get involved in your future with these great opportunities of price action. Price action as the price opportunities for get lower price when bearish price action presents itself. That's what I'm trying to say. So much that's going on here, but I love each and every one of you. Remember, head over to bitlabacademy.com. This is how you get the indicators. Come down here, BitLab Trading Stack. Give me monthly access. You can use that. Give me 30. for 30% off. You can also head over to Enroll Now right here. And when you click on Enroll Now, you can get the trading stack, all the courses, and the premium Discord right here, the BitLab Pro, which, by the way, is about 30% already off because it's a bundle, but you'll get an additional 30% off your first month with Give Me 30. And if you just want the courses and the premium Discord right here, I want all access. And if you want to share other friends and family, they don't know anything about Bitcoin, they can sign up for free. There's free courses to understand blockchain, Bitcoin, beginners info. It's all free right there. And that's all I got. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Let's stay positive through all the drama. Let's be a beacon of hope and light and love. I appreciate you. Let's all be an island. I love you. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Hit that like button, sucker.